Hello.
Hi.
We're in my childhood bedroom, functionally. We're in the next bedroom over. We're basically in my childhood, but this is a horrible way to start an episode. Anyway, welcome to... we're on the phone. This is one of those episodes, because we're out of town. And oftentimes when we travel with the audio equipment, the TSA is like, who are you to be traveling with audio equipment?
They
And
just
then
take
they
our
take
microphone
stuff.
stands usually.
It's
just very annoying.
It's annoying.
We understand why the TSA exists and does its thing. So if you're a TSA agent, we have no quarrel with you. We constantly are losing our microphone stands.
Yeah, because you can't exactly check them because they weigh like 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So then that's half. Anyway, hi, welcome to Wheel Takes. This is a podcast about the Wheel of Time. Those are a bunch of books. Robert Jordan wrote most of them, some of all of them. Brandon Sanderson helped out with the last few. And I'm Gus, and I've read them all.
And I'm Allie, and I actually do have one quarrel with the TSA. It feels like at every airport, the rules are different.
Yeah, I think it's a day-to-day thing. I think they change things situationally, too.
As I fly not infrequently, right?
No.
And I really pride myself on getting an A in TSA.
There is an A in TSA.
There is an A in TSA. It's if you can, like, do all the things.
No. I mean, literally, it stands for authority.
Well, okay, yeah, but, I want an A grade in TSA every time I go to the airport.
Yeah,
to the point where, like, if Gus's bag gets flagged, I will act like I don't know him.
She does do that.
Yeah.
Your bag gets flagged a lot more.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes you're like, man, I should bring all of the lotion. And then you bring like 15 pounds of lotion.
This is my quarrel. What counts as a liquid changes from airport to airport, it feels like. Because I have flown with things that were more of a paste, right? And have had no issue up until recently. Then suddenly, all of a sudden, they're like, this is too much of the consistency of a liquid. I'm like, it's a paste. And
I think it's up to the individual determination of the agent.
Which I just disagree. Well, I'm like, open the thing. Look, it's a paste.
You remember when we tried to fly with beans? Sulin gave us beans.
Yes.
And we were nearly thrown in prison. That's not true.
No, but they deliberated as to whether or not they were going to let us keep the beans.
It's a whole episode we have titled after this. It's called "You Can Keep Your Joke Beans."
Yeah, we legitimately told them, like, you can have the beans. Like, we understand. And then they come back to us very seriously, and they're like, you can keep your joke beans.
All right. So now that everybody's stopped listening, this podcast only contains... What have you read?
I've read all of book 13.
And only that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
By 13, you mean 12.
Is it 12? Well, okay. Well, are we counting New Spring?
What's the title of the book you've read through, Allie? How about we go that way?
You know what's really bad?
Did you forget the title of the book you just finished?
I have forgotten it.
It's The Gathering Storm.
So many titles. Okay, Gathering Storm. I'm now going to be reading Towers of Midnight, yes?
You will next be reading Towers of Midnight.
Okay. See, what I find confusing and why I keep forgetting that it's called Gathering Storm is I, for some reason, feel like the penultimate book should be called Gathering Storm.
Yeah.
Because that feels like it's leading toward a conclusion.
Yeah.
Whereas Towers of Midnight feels very much more like a middle book title.
Well, yeah. I agree with you.
And I'm not quarreling.
No.
I'm not being nitpicky. No. That's why I'm struggling to remember the title.
Well, yeah.
Because I'm like, I feel like that should be the second to last book because the storm is gathering.
It is.
Feels like a bad guy's closing in.
First, you got a Towers of Midnight.
Yeah.
Then the Midnight's Tower. The Tower's Midnight. If Shakespeare had written that book, the title just means Night Dicks.
It truly would.
Yeah.
Mean Night Dicks.
Night Dicks.
Night Dicks.
Only for what Allie's already read, and that's everything up to and including the entirety of The Gathering Storm. We've introduced ourselves. We have.
Okay.
And if you don't agree with that, I'll fight you in the streets.
Okay.
So here's what's up. This is part 2 of our finale of The Gathering Storm. Part 2 of parts, probably 3 if I had to guess. Because I just don't think we're going to be able to talk about everything today. Because I feel like Veins of Gold is going to end up being a chapter on its own, because it probably should.
Yeah.
So today we get to talk about the other stuff, which is where Tam talks to some people, and then Rand has some revelations that I think you have a lot of strong feelings about. Before the other revelations.
I have a lot of strong feelings about that.
Well, hold on. The revelations I'm talking about are the ones that he has in Shan-Shan-controlled territory.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember these revelations, or did you block them out?
I remember them now that you've reminded me,
Yeah, I
but I
kind of
did
feel
block them
I had
out
to turn this light on.
because I thought
All
that
right.
I thought we were talking about the one on the mountaintop.
No, that's the next
I do
time.
have a lot
Maybe
of-
we get there today,
Maybe
but I don't
do.
know.
I have a lot of things to say about both things. Surprising no one, I have a lot to say. You know, here's the thing. I recently realized that I have a lot of thoughts and feelings and opinions.
You're realizing this now,
I
after 300 podcast episodes.
no, here's the thing.
More like 320.
I think
Actually,
I thought that all people were this way.
hold on. Let me
all
loudly
people
type
have
on the phone we're recording on.
Strong feelings about everything under the sun. I just kind of assumed that and maybe all people are this way. Are all people? No, not all people are this way.
Do you have opinions?
And can monologue about them for 45 hours.
Well, I wouldn't say everybody is capable of talking about them extensively, no.
I have a lot of opinions and feelings and thoughts.
How many podcast episodes? Let me see.
And I guess I just realized recently that
362 podcast episods.
I guess I've just realized that I have a lot of feelings, and I didn't know that I had as many feelings as I do until very recently. Like I think when you live in your own reality, the reality that you construct in your head about the world, you go like, well, surely all people
You're
are like
saying
this.
in comparison to the rest of the world.
What?
Like, you're saying you think that your opinions are more pronounced than the average bear. Is that what we're saying?
Possibly.
Well, let's find out.
I think I have a lot of
I think, let's put it this way.
feelings.
You are more comfortable expressing your opinion than many others.
Why aren't they comfortable expressing their opinion?
It's scary.
Is it? It is?
It can be.
Oh.
Because what if somebody disagrees?
Well, then you have a lively discussion.
Yes, many do not wish to do so.
Well.
Instead, they type comments on YouTube.
Well, and that is, I think, a waste of time.
Here's the thing.
Well, I mean, it's nice to get nice feedback.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
No,
here's the thing. Sometimes, like, a little constructive criticism never hurt anyone. But sometimes the way that they express that constructive criticism is just objectively rude.
Here's the
and
thing.
seems like a very frustrated individual.
We're gonna dive right in with chapter 48, reading the commentary. Allie, this is the logo. What is it?
called reading the commentary?
Yes.
That's so funny. Never read the commentary.
Well, the commentary is fine. The comments. Don't read the comments.
Mm-hmm.
She's drinking tea.
Okay, so it's Min and Cadsuane.
It's Cadsuane.
And Tam comes in and is like, "What did you do to my
What's
son?"
the shit?
And I'm like, "What? What could she have done to him that he didn't really do to himself?" Like, because like, what did objectively, let's look at it. What has Cadsuane really done to Rand to earn the ire of Rand?
I've been engaged in a lot of conversations about this over the years because I defend Cadsuane more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
And usually what is arrived at is that Cadsuane attempts to essentially bully him or
Sure.
force him into doing things rather than listening to him and treating him like a person.
Sure,
And
but
I
has
agree
that
with that.
worked one time?
No, but the issue that is raised by the people who do not like Cadsuane at all
Sure.
is that approach actually drove Rand further into this.
Okay.
Is that if Cadsuane had not, strong-armed him, attempted to strong-arm him into his role, what he should do, et cetera, et cetera. Because that's what Moiraine tried to do for about 2.5 books,
Strong
3
arm
books.
him, and then she stopped doing that.
And then she stopped doing that.
But then he kept treating her like she was still doing that.
He kept treating her like she was doing that, but he also agreed to listen to her a little bit here and there.
Yeah, but he didn't really appreciate her until after she was gone.
Right.
Which I find frustrating.
Right.
Here's the thing I also find frustrating is that when people change and like go, "You're right, Rand, I'm going to do something different." Because Cadsuane also decided to change her approach.
When?
I thought she decided to change her approach.
When?
Didn't she meet with like old lady Aiel? And they had like a whole conversation about how they were going to change their approach. He needs to be like taught to have feelings again.
Yeah, they had a conversation about that, and I love that chapter.
Great chapter.
Now, I think...
Listen, I don't know if Cadsuane has been the most effective mentor to
No,
Rand.
I don't think she has. I think a lot of that is because her leadership style is geared much more around shoving people into the position they need to be in.
I would argue that that's a larger Aes Sedai infrastructure
I would
problem.
agree with that, yeah. And I also think that when Cadsuane and Cerelia had that meeting and made that decision, it was less, here's how we're going to handle this situation, and more, oh, let's figure out what our mutual goals are, you know?
Yeah. I guess Cadsuane has not been as effective as I would want her to be, which is a bummer because I really like a lot about her. I do agree that maybe her approach in the initial stages was bad. I think it came from a good place.
Yeah, and I'm still going to defend a lot of what Cadsuane does, because I think in the grand scheme of things, she's very well intentioned.
Yes, and I think she does know what she's talking about. So I guess what I find frustrating, I guess as a woman, maybe this is it for me, and maybe I just have a hang up about this, is the 20-year-old boy thinking he knows more
than the 350-year-old woman.
And granted, it should be a lot more of a give and take relationship than it was at the beginning. It should be both
ways, I agree.
But I do understand this incredibly powerful woman, right, going into this situation with a 20-year-old man, a 20-year-old man, looking at him, going, you've been channeling for what, 2 years? Not even?
Not even.
Right? I've been channeling for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I kind of know what I'm talking about. And yes, birds and fish or whatever. But like, and then Moraine, same thing. I'm like, these older women consistently go to Rand and are like, I have wisdom
and experience that you don't.
And Rand frequently dismisses them, says they're bullying him, la-di-da-di-da. Meanwhile, Lan and Davram Bashir and all these, like, when Rourke and all these men who have experience, Rand, up until kind of recently, really listened to and, like, never really had a problem with them, even when they did say stuff like, damn it, boy, or whatever.
Well, Davram Bashir threw a fucking knife at him.
Yeah, and Rand never held that against him.
No.
In the way that, like, he held against, like, Moraine, pretty much everything Moraine ever did.
From day one.
Yeah. And the same thing happened pretty much immediately with Cadsuane. And so I guess what's frustrating to me is that the older men are frequently seen as, like, wise and are listened to even in the moments where they're imperfect, right? Even though Lan has some, like, real emotional stuntedness in some ways and moments, right? Displays some occasional lack of emotional intelligence on some of the ways he handles things.
You talk about, like, the death wish and the never talk to a woman because you're gonna die and all of that stuff.
It's too much. Like, it's like, go to therapy, oh my God, before you give those kinds of pieces of advice to young, impressionable men.
Yeah.
I think for me that's what's frustrating.
I agree.
There are moments in which, it's the same thing with, like, the young men versus the young women. The young men get handed power and don't want it, and the young women have to, like, basically scrap for any ounce of respect constantly. And is that kind of reflective of how the world is?
Yes, 100%.
Oh my God, the world hates older women.
Oh God, yeah.
Hates older women.
Yeah.
I just find it sad that seems to be in here, but not as, like, a thing to comment on.
Yeah, because the universal again, pretty much everybody hates Cadsuane. Brandon Sanderson especially hates Cadsuane.
Which I guess for me,
it annoys me.
Is a bummer. And I guess
really
there are some women
me.
Older women, I'm sure there are some older women where people are like, what about this woman? And I'm going to be like, I guess that's true.
We talking in the book?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's, like, an older, I guess many
of the Aiel Wise ones
get listened to.
Many of the Aiel Wise ones are listened to, but the Aiel Wise ones are also, generally speaking, much more removed.
Yeah, like, I feel like we haven't seen them in a minute.
And they tend to operate through the clan chiefs, you know?
Yeah, it always feels like it's like they have power, but through by influencing the ultimate actions of the men.
Right.
Which
well, that goes back to
there's
village,
like a lot to unpack.
Village
there.
Council Women's Circle.
Yeah, Women's Circle, Men's Square.
Women's Circle business and all that.
Yeah, Men's Square. And, like,
Men's Square. I forgot about Men's Square.
Yeah. The Women's Circle and the Men's Square.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. Whenever people say this, whenever we talk about, whenever this is brought up, the rebuttal is, well, the Aes Sedai were corrupted by a Shamael 2,000 years ago, whatever, and they're all pompous, and the whole organization is corrupt and fucked up.
Sure.
And sure, but then, I would think to myself, but why? why did we introduce this fantasy world where women can do magic and women are powerful? And then at the midpoint, we went, actually, they're all a bunch of domineering bitches, essentially.
Yes, that's how I feel.
Is how most Aes Sedai in the series are viewed by the kids, and the text kind of supports. I'm being very harsh and rude by using that word, but the text is kind of like, yeah, they hit the men, and they're shrewish,
dumb
and they're
stuff. Yeah, and the women,
petty.
The young women seem to have taken stupid pills.
Yeah,
like, you know, they get dickmatized, and it's like,
yeah. They get into competitions over the smallest thing. They're throwing turds at the men.
The cattiness thing.
You know, the older one are all pretentious, and
I'm like, yeah, there's just an underlying thing there that I find a little sad about Cadsuane and Moraine and the way that they're treated by the rest of the group. Because I'm like, I do think that they have a lot to offer and are dismissed frequently, and frankly, that would make me pretty frustrated.
Yeah, I would get mad. Well, do you remember?
I get pretty pissed off too.
Do you remember when Moraine started to be listened to?
Yeah, when she started being submissive and deferential.
When she swore fealty to Rand.
Yes, and this is my thing, is I'm like, he's like, I will not listen to these women until they promise me that they will be submissive to me. And that I have an issue with.
Right. And by the way.
And yeah, I know it's like a trust thing. And like, I know there's a lot to unpack with that.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, when you look at it, just kind of blanket, right? And you're looking at it as like, okay, what are we saying about the nature of men and women and their relationship to one another, right?
If we're looking at things from a binary perspective.
A thesis that he is exploring, it doesn't feel great.
No.
It doesn't feel great that we're having this whole, and then, you know, he refuses to listen to her at every turn in a lot of ways, right? Up until Moraine decides. And so then what I get in my head is it's like, well, women only deserve to be listened to if they're nice about it.
Well, and even in this case, I mean, even with Tam, people, the argument with Cadsuane is she's too harsh, she's too blunt, she's too direct, she's manipulative, and she's rude. And then she says, hey, Rand's dad, he could really use a talk. And that's still so bad that Rand goes nuclear, you know?
Right?
I'm like, that's probably the best thing she could have done.
That's objectively a good decision.
So she has actually modified her approach dramatically.
And he refuses to give her an inch.
Yeah.
An inch of,
and
like,
I know, and it's trauma and whatever, but every character in the book has fucking trauma.
At this point, like, freaking Joe Schmo on the street has trauma. Like,
to him is shambles.
Going through it. And it's like, the thing for me is I'm like, Egwene has been just as fucked over as Rand. Her fucking second in command, right, was Black Aja.
Yeah.
Someone she trusted Shiri.
Yeah.
From day one. I didn't, but she did. Right? People that she was like day one committed to, right? Shiri, friggin' Varen, technically. Like, but she still trusts the women around her. She still trusts Swan.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, there's a lot to unpack with the Swan stuff. Like, there's so much to unpack where it's like the women are constantly kind of put into these roles of submission, and then suddenly they're like acceptable and likable.
Well, and I mean, let's expand it outward even again. And I think this is relevant because Cadsuane is a major focus of this book.
A lot about Cadsuane, right?
Let's expand this out further. Rand, in terms of delegating authority to women, he leaves Barrelane in charge of Kyrian to keep her away from everything else, right?
To keep her safe, in quotes.
He
and
leaves
that's annoying.
Avienda, etc., in their places to keep them away from the danger.
Same thing with the Maidens of the Spear.
He's constantly trying to keep them out of the way of fire. The Black Tower, he starts as an organization, meets Mazrim Taim, goes, yeah, you run that. I trust you.
And then never
checks
comes
in again. Back. And I know this is Rand specific trauma, blah, blah, blah. I know we've talked about this so many times.
We've given this boy a lot of passes.
Yeah.
Okay, we have.
But I think it's
But I'm like,
it bears scrutiny.
To me, you know? Honestly, it's less about Rand and more about, like, in general.
Yeah.
The books are about men and women and their relationship to one another and the balance that needs to be struck. And unfortunately, the consistent messaging that's underlying is like, women need to be nice to men.
Yeah.
Even when they know, have more experience.
Men have a lot of big feelings and women need to manage those.
Yes. It's their job to manage those. And to, like, if they have trauma, that's like theirs to deal with.
Yeah.
And like that's women's trauma, that's theirs.
Yeah.
And like, we'll not touch that. And like it feels like it perpetuates some of the real negative things about masculine and feminine relationships.
And I mean, we've talked about
Like
this.
sexual trauma in this book is not given the weight that I think it needs to have.
No, I agree.
Like a lot of the trauma Egwene goes through is not given the weight I think that it needs to have.
Until now. I mean, I think in 12 it gets more weight, and I'm always happy about that.
But like, yeah, Rand's trauma, I think Rand's trauma, Perrin's trauma, Matt's trauma, I think get a lot of weight. Well, Matt's trauma actually is the one where I think it was not given the weight that it needs to have.
Yeah, that one.
That relationship with Tylan was not given the weight that it needs to have, both in these books and in the fandom. Just gonna say, like, how many people do we see with pink ribbons on?
The pink ribbon cosplays
now
at the
that I
fucking
see
cons,
it, I'm so fucking.
They make me
creeped out
crash the fuck out every time I see one.
Legit crash the fuck out. I think we need to talk about it. I think it's like deeply upsetting to see.
Yeah, man.
Because to me, it's like I'm gonna make light of men's sexual trauma.
Yeah.
I feel like so often men's sexual trauma gets played for laughs and is treated with like lightness that it shouldn't be treated with, especially when it's perpetuated by a woman.
If you don't go to the conventions and you don't know what we're talking about,
it's not like a hellscape of this,
but
like every now and then you see
the cons are wonderful. I adore Jordan Con and Watt Con and Valkyrie. They're all fantastic, wonderful events.
Life-changingly amazing.
Amazing ways to meet other like-minded fans, have a great time.
Oh, it's amazing.
Catch up with old friends you've met on. It's a fucking blast. Additionally, there are costume contests and cosplays, and pretty much universally, there's like 3 or 4 people who dress up as Matt with pink ribbons.
And every time I always go, see it now.
What's the impetus here, friendo? What are we doing here?
It never feels like it's making a statement.
No.
In a way where I'm like, because there's a world in which, because I never want to censor people's art or whatever.
No, wear whatever you want. I mean, whatever.
Like, whatever. But it never feels like it's in a way that thinks about the implications of what they're doing.
No.
It never feels like it's and maybe I'm wrong, because I frankly don't know them. But to me, I just never, I'm like, are you aware of the vast implications of what that costume means? And are you in making the decision to wear that costume, like making some kind of intelligent statement about it? Or are you just going like, tee-hee, sex happened?
We remember this scene, don't we? Yes.
It's like, well, there are things about these books that I freaking adore, and I wouldn't have done 340 episodes about these books if I didn't. But there are times in which I'm like, the way that the women are treated sometimes feels like and the way that like sexual trauma is treated and all this stuff feels like a perpetuation of the society that we have that already exists.
Right.
And if that were done, and here's the thing, I haven't read to the end of the books. If that were done as a explicit statement about how male and female relationships are out of balance, which I would agree in our society, I have so many essays that I could write about how like the current structure of society directly is bad for men and bad for women, because there is an imbalance of power, and there is a disregard of like femininity and like all kinds of crap. There's suspicion and fear and hostility toward femininity that is just rampant, and also a dismissiveness toward femininity that is rampant, that I think is bad for men, bad for women. I think there's a similar issue when it comes to like treating men as if their lives are not as important. It's like, there's just so much bullshit. There's so much bullshit that gets internalized on both sides that I'm like, if that were explicit, and I feel bad for men, I feel bad for women, I feel bad for like non-binary people. I feel bad for everybody, because everybody's fucked by this.
I mean, I've even made jokes before where you've been like, I don't want to hear men say da-da-da, and I've jokingly said, you can stop after I don't want to hear men. And that's not fair either.
No, it's
that's not fair
fair
of me to men.
I think part of that humor comes from a weariness and exhaustion on behalf of the feminine, because it feels like we've had to do a lot of emotional labor to get men to see us as people.
Sure, yeah.
And there's just generational trauma in being a woman, of like having to, my mom in a point in her life couldn't own a fucking credit card. There's a heaviness to that. But like, yeah, and the feeling of like being dismissed outright because you look and are a certain way, can't be understated. It's frustrating and it makes you tired and sometimes it makes you resentful. And I think that comes from that place of like frustration of like still we're dealing with the same bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? So okay, so all of that said, if I felt like the books were making a commentary on that, I'm in.
Yeah.
Great. I'm not sure that that's what's being done. Maybe. I haven't read to the end of the books, so I'm on the journey. So maybe that, and I'm prepared to live in a world where we're making a comment, because I do think at the end of the day, the thesis is going to be that the masculine and feminine need to be balanced, and that the world needs to be balanced, like good and evil, masculine and feminine, lightness and darkness. Like the point is that it is a balance. Like you kind of can't have good days without bad days. You kind of can't have, like that's important. It's usually one of my favorite things to say is like, two things can be true.
Yeah.
Right? Hot nuance and all that. But like, yeah, it sometimes feels a little rough seeing Cadsuane, how Cadsuane is treated in the books, seeing how Cadsuane is treated by the fandom, seeing how Moraine gets treated in these books.
Fail.
Egwene, Elaine. Like,
not Avienda,
but that's because she's not like other girls.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like there was a period where like all of the stuff was like, be a cool girl.
Yeah.
There's a whole great monologue about this in Gone Girl.
Yeah.
Where she's like, you got to be the cool girl. Like you can't need things. You can't want things. You can't be too mushy. You have to watch football and drink beer and still be a size 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a lot of emotional labor that has been put on women, a lot of physical, but you can't like be obsessed about your looks. Like you have to be hot, but not be obsessed. Like, and the Barbie movie has this too. I mean, it's just like, we've been saying the same shit over and over and over again. We're tired of having to say the same monologue and have people go, oh, wow, I guess women are people.
You remember how hard people crashed out when we said things about Rand in like book 4?
Yes.
Oh man, that was fun.
There's like none of that for the women in the books. No. There's none, like the energy that people have for the women in the books is so different. And it's like stark and pronounced. I mean, even just the way that you and I get treated as podcasters.
Oh yeah.
Is wildly different.
Yeah.
Wildly different. Like Gus is never like, Gus is a very hyper aware person, but seeing how I get treated in comments sometimes versus him has made him even more frustrated.
That's true.
Like honestly, he's madder about it than I am. Like, and partly because I was like, yeah, I've been a woman for a long time. I kind of assumed when we were going to do a podcast that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But like, because I've been a woman on the internet for a long time. But like, it's tough when it's like the person that you love, that you respect, and see get treated like that by people who don't know her.
Now, that all being said, we're going to take an ad break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about books some more. Welcome back.
Sorry. So all of this does relate back to what we're talking about, because Tam immediately comes in at a 10.
He does. Now, admittedly, his son just nearly killed him.
Yeah, understandable reason to come. The moment before, as they say in acting, right, is pretty intense. So it's like, it makes sense that he comes in at a 10, right? I get it. And out of context, right, I'm being so fair to Tam, okay? Out of context, Rand got very upset when he mentioned Cadsuane specifically. So I understand why he's like, this woman did something to my son. And again, I don't give a flying goddamn fuck that Rand is not biologically his son. I do not give a goddamn fuck.
And neither does he.
And neither does Tam. Rand seems to think it matters. It fucking doesn't.
Well, Rand is only thinking it matters to distance himself from Tam.
It's wild because, like, I come from a family where we're not all blood related to each other.
Yeah.
And like the comments I will get sometimes about it are wild, where they're like, well, like this person is your full blood something, so they like matter more somehow than the one that's like half blood to you. And I'm like, nope, that's not how that works. It's not how that works. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like you can have a full blood sibling that you fucking hate. Not that that's true in my case. And you can have a step sibling that you fucking adore and would give a kidney to. It's just like, and I have friends that I'd say I'm closer to than some of my family.
So we're going to dive in here to chapter 48. Min sat in Cadsuane's small room, waiting with the others to hear the result of Rand's meeting with his father. Blah, 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 blah. Min was past regretting her decision to make an alliance with Cadsuane. Regret had come early, during the first few days when Cadsuane had kept Min close, asking after every viewing she had had about Rand. The woman was meticulous as a Brown, writing down each vision and answer. It was like being in the White Tower again.
But we should be doing, I've been saying from the beginning, I'm like, Min, this is like the, I don't want to be like, this is how you're useful, but like, this is a skill that you have. That is a special skill of hers. This is a skill that you have that you can directly use to benefit the entire everything. Like, we should have been writing these down from the very beginning and trying to figure out what they mean. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, this is upsetting to you? Like, this is what should have been happening from the beginning. I've said from the beginning, Rand should just point Min at everyone. You have. And go, what do you see? And you know what's funny? Rand was doing that for a while. And didn't bother her. Didn't bother her at all. Now that Cadsuane's doing it, it's a problem. Yeah. Regret had come and gone. Min had moved on to resignation, tinged with a hint of frustration. Cadsuane knew quite a bit about the material Min was studying in her books, but the woman doled out her knowledge like cloudberry jam, a little reward for good behavior, always hinting that there was more to come. That kept Min from fleeing. She had to find the answer. Well, she has to do that if... Oh, my God. Like, Rand won't talk to her. Cadsuane knows a lot of shit. Like, she needs... And if she just gives you all the answers, she knows you're just going to run, like you just admitted. So we have a line of prophecy here. He shall hold a blade of light in his hands, and the three shall be one. Hold a blade of light in his hands. Well, that's Kalendor. Probably Kalendor. And the three shall be one. Okay, so that's Moradin, him, and Lews Therin. That would make sense. Because why is Moradin hot? See, this is going to get confusing, because there's a character in Babylon 5 named Morden. I know. It's going to get confusing. Yeah. But here's the thing. I feel like there's almost like a psychology here in like these three different splits. Like, it feels like Moradin's like his shadow self. Sure. Right? When we talk about like shadow work and stuff. Yeah. Moradin's like the shadow. And like Lews Therin's what? Like the... Him if he never went to therapy. Not that he did. He hasn't gone to therapy. Him with even like, less therapy. It's him. Obviously it's like your past life karma debt shit. Sure. But... that's not really psychology. That's more spiritual woo-woo shit. But like, we could say like a generational trauma or something. Inner child, maybe. What of Min's own relationship with Rand? She was still welcome in his presence. That hadn't changed, but there was something wrong. Feels like something Rand's more off. The inner child. He put up walls when she was near, not to keep her out, but to keep the real him in. As if he was afraid of what the real him would do or could do to those he loved. He's got to face his shadow self, dude. It's usually not that bad. It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm a person capable of bad things that I choose not to do. So Min holds Otherwise you become a shadow projector and you start projecting all of your shadow shit on other people. I like that. Min is reading prophecy. She thinks, the scholars think that the three shall be one means the three great cities shall unite their armies. Mm-hmm. And she's like, this is a dog shit interpretation. This is ass. And she picks up the book and she goes, Cadsuane, I think the interpretation of this phrase is wrong. And Beldine goes, and Cadsuane goes, you have something to say, Beldine? You obviously thought something when Min spoke. Out with it. And Beldine goes, I simply think that the child is amusing in the way she pokes through those tomes, as if she were a scholar. Okay, see, that's a dickish thing to say. Yes. Now, see, here's the thing. Are they dicks sometimes? Yeah, yes. All the time. That's the problem. And that's a structural issue. That's the problem. No, and I understand. I think, they're dicks sometimes, but, like, that wasn't Cadsuane that said that shit. No, and yes, I know. They are literally from an ivory tower. Yes, I understand. To a certain extent, we can take this as commentary. See here, but this is the thing. This is the thing, though. She says, I see. And then goes, Min, what was it you were saying to me? Yeah. So Cadsuane... And then she says, nothing important. And then Cadsuane says, I didn't ask if it was important. I asked you to repeat yourself. This is the thing. It's not... Like, Beldine, objectively being a dick here. Cadsuane is giving Min the weight that she needs to give Min. Yep. Cadsuane does... The thing about Cadsuane is that she's not maternal. No. Yes, that is the issue. She's not... As Brandon Sanderson literally said, you're not my real mom. But... is Cadsuane asking to be a mom? No. I don't think so. Like, why is it that we expect maternity from older women? And if if we don't, they're crones and they're shrill and they're shrews and they're, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Cadsuane is giving this. If Cadsuane were a man right here, people would be like, what a great moment from Cadsuane.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what is nice, though. Cadsuane has here. Min goes, the passage is wrong. I'm reading commentary on the Korea, blah, 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 blah. I think he's wrong. She goes, why is it that you think you know more than a respected scholar of the prophecies? And Min goes, the theory doesn't make sense. Rand only really holds one crown. There might have been a good argument here if he hadn't given away Tyr to Darlin, but the theory doesn't hold any longer. I think the passage refers to some way he has to use Kalendor. And Cadsuane goes, I see. That's a very unconventional interpretation. Of course, you are quite right. It was that very passage led me to investigate Kalendor. Through a great deal of searching, I discovered that the sword could only be used properly in a circle of 3. That is likely the ultimate meaning of the passage. So Cadsuane's like, yeah, you got that one. A+.
And I just feel like if Cadsuane were a man, they'd be like, what a great moment. Like, making Min come to the same conclusion as her.
Yeah.
Like, Cadsuane is 17 steps ahead of everybody else all the time. And they don't listen to her. Just because, what, she's a bully? Does she owe you her kindness? I don't recall Davrin Bashir being constantly nice to Rand when he pulled him off, hasn't Davrin Bashir beaten Rand up?
He tackled him off his horse.
Yes! Granted, it was to stop Rand from doing something so mind-numbingly stupid. Here's the thing, though. Rand has done things that are mind-numbingly stupid.
Repeatedly, yes.
Repeatedly. Mind-numbingly stupid. And we're supposed to go, Rand should have all of the ability to say, like, all the say in how this goes. I'm like, he's a 20-year-old kid who doesn't know shit. Like, even when Min's coming up with something, right? Cadsuane's already thought of that and has been investigated it and agrees. But I'm like, does Cadsuane owe them every card she has?
Not really.
Not really. Not when they don't trust her. They're not giving her every card.
They're not giving her much of any card.
Any cards. Not a single card have they given her.
Oh, Min has a viewing of Nynaeve kneeling over someone's corpse in a posture of grief.
Oh, shit.
And then she goes, well, nothing to read into there.
I'm a little worried about Lan.
There's a black knife spinning around Beldine's head. So
Okay,
Rand has to use Kalendor.
Someone's gonna knife Beldine.
Rand has to use Kalendor in a circle.
Could be Min.
Min can't channel.
Black
Oh,
knife?
the knifing, yeah.
Well, yeah, Min's got knives.
It could be.
For days.
Rand-
So does Fael. They're knife girls.
And she goes, Cadsuane, this is still wrong. There's more here. Something we haven't discovered. About Kalendor? Min nods. She goes, I suspect so as well. But I haven't been able to determine what. If only that fool boy would revoke my exile, we could get on with more important...
So then this is the thing. Like, if Rand were more communicative, they would be solving problems faster.
Now, admittedly, Cadsuane could also be more...
I agree. I think both of them are being incredibly stubborn and, being dumbasses. And I think, honestly, what Min should be doing is being a go-between between the two of them and trying to get them to talk to each other.
Honestly, Rand and Cadsuane have a lot in common.
Yes.
You know, I think that's kind of the thing.
Then why is Rand... Well, part of it is because we've been there for the journey of why Rand has become who he is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking sure that over hundreds of years, Cadsuane's been fucked with a lot.
Yeah.
Like, she survived the, awfulness or the vileness.
The vileness.
That was a whole fucking thing.
You know, Cadsuane's also cool because, if people forget this, she is a green, and yet she has been part of the gentling of many a man, and significantly more men that she has gentled have lived on than, anybody else. Proportional to all the other people who have gone after men who could channel, she's been able to, nurture people back to health more than anybody. Am I making that up? I'm pretty fucking sure that's something I read once.
I believe it. I believe it. She's incredibly capable. And I guess that's what's really frustrating to me, is I'm like, I feel like if she were a man, she would not be given the same level of scrutiny.
No. Well, especially because...
she's not my real mom thing. I'm like, did she ask to be a mom? She's no one's mom.
Her track record is also stellar. Her track record of political intervention, diplomacy, deal-making, dealing with men who can channel, she has a stellar record of service in her many hundreds of years of life, of, actively doing good stuff.
Yeah.
This one just didn't work out
Rourke isn't maternal either.
No, he's not.
Rourke isn't, sweet to Rand. He is sometimes. I'm sure Cadsuane has her moments of sweetness, too. He hasn't given her any opportunities to showcase that side of her personality.
Yeah.
He hasn't given her an inch. Rourke, trust with his life, out of nowhere, right? Lan instantly became into Lan, even though Lan worked for Moraine.
He did.
Shared basically a brain with Moraine.
Kind of turned on the Aes Sedai for Nynaeve, and therefore also Rand. a little bit. Like, you remember in book 2 and 3, she was like, no, your loyalties are shifting, aren't they?
Yeah, they did. And like Rand still is Team Lan. I guess he is like, well, if he wants to go die in the Blight, he can go die in the Blight. But like, that's because Rand will say that about anybody now. But like, Davin Bashir threw a fucking knife at him, and now they're bosom fucking buddies.
So Tam busts in, and he goes, what have you done to him? She goes, I have done nothing to the boy other than encourage him towards civility.
Quite literally.
Something it seems other members of the family could learn as well. And he goes, watch your tongue, Aes Sedai. Have you seen him? The entire room seemed to grow darker when he entered. And
You
that
know what
face...
else?
Yeah?
You know what else? I want a clock too, and maybe this is a thing that's not real. Who knows? How often the women get told to like watch their tongues.
The men do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it either way.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it. It's basically telling people to shut up.
I take it that the reunion did not go as hoped. He tried to kill me, my own son. Once he was as gentle and faithful a lad as a father could hope for. Tonight, he channeled the one power and turned it against me. Cadsuane goes, interesting. And did you speak the words I prepared for you?
This is the other thing. She gave him explicit instructions that he went against.
I began
She said, don't bring me up. And then he goes, I'm going to bring her up.
But I realized it wasn't working. He wouldn't open up to me, and well, he shouldn't. A man using an Aes Sedai script with his own son. I don't know what you did to him, woman, but I recognize hatred when I see it. You have a lot to explain. And then Cadsuane dumbly picks him up with air.
Okay.
So now we're being stupid.
Sorry. So here's the thing.
Now we're being dumb.
But Rand has done this to people.
Rand also did this about 20 minutes. Again, They're the same in a lot of ways.
They're the same in a lot of ways. She's an older woman, so people give her less of a pass.
Dude, I want to write an essay comparing Rand and Cadsuane and saying that they're similar.
They're basically the same.
They're very similar.
And yeah, she's older, so she should, act better, probably. But like, listen, they're both under immense amounts of stress as well. And yeah, I don't like this moment. I think
this is a stupid thing. This is a bad idea.
Here's the thing. Two things can be true. She can fuck up a lot and still be someone where I'm like, she still also should get credit for the shit she does well.
Yes. Tam looks at her and goes, I've known men who, when challenged, always turned their fists for answers. I've never liked Aes Sedai. I was happy to be rid of them when I returned to my farm. A bully is a bully, whether she uses the strength of her arm or other means. And she puts him.
Okay.
And Tam is like, Nynaeve's like, you fucked it up?
I think let me say, I think her logic was to try to kind of shock him out of being unreasonable.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not great. It's pretty dumb.
Like, I think she was just trying to get his attention so that he stopped, like, railing.
And Tam goes...
But not the best.
Tam goes, Nynaeve, that boy's right near insane. What has happened to him? I understand what battle can do to a man, but... And Cadsuane is like, well, you fucked it up. You beefed it.
Okay. Well, maybe not.
And Tam goes, if you'd explained to me how he regarded you, it might have gone differently. Burn me. This is what I get for listening to Aes Sedai. And then Nynaeve...
If she had...
Let me get through these three. Nynaeve goes, this is what you get for being wool-headed and ignoring what you're told. And Min goes, this is what we all get for assuming we can make him do what we want.
All right. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yes, go ahead.
One, if Cadsuane had told Tam, hey, he doesn't like me, so don't mention me, Tam wouldn't have gone.
Yeah, probably not.
Honestly, what Cadsuane should have done is have Nynaeve tell Tam to go to Rand.
Probably.
Right? But Nynaeve doesn't always do what Cadsuane wants her to do.
No.
And she couldn't send Min because Tam doesn't know Min. So, yeah, I feel like Cadsuane does have this thing where she wants to handle things herself.
She does.
She doesn't like to delegate, which is a flaw, right? A flaw that probably comes in part because she doesn't feel like she can trust anyone, much like Rand, right? They are really similar, actually.
They're a lot alike.
In another life, they might actually get along quite well.
Honestly, it also makes me understand why they rub each other the wrong way so much.
Well, yeah, when you see yourself in someone, you fucking want to hit them sometimes.
Well, they're both blunt forces and blunt objects in a lot of ways.
Yes, and blunt object can sometimes be very difficult to make work.
Yeah, Rand just gets a pass for being a blunt object a lot of the time because he has to.
Because he's a man. We've been on the journey with him.
Yeah. He's
young.
Yeah.
Right? Cadsuane does not get the same level of understanding. Maybe she would if we saw the journey more. Maybe. I have a feeling her life has not been easy.
Probably not.
I have a feeling this is my thing when I meet, I'm always a little like, your life has not been easy.
Yeah. Well, hold
on. It's been hard.
What else is there to unpack in this? There's Cadsuane, Tam.
I'm going there. I'm going there.
Yeah.
So Tam saying, like, if you'd explain to me how, like, you should have explained that to me. I'm just like, then you wouldn't have gone.
Probably not.
Okay, next was Nynaeve.
Nynaeve said you fucked up because he went off script.
Where's the lie? They gave him a pretty simple instruction, which was don't mention Cadsuane, and he did. And then Rand went ballistic.
Apparently she gave him specific things to say and talk about.
Okay.
And then Tam kind of deviated from that, and it got Rand to open up more.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Tam was wrong for deviating from the script.
No.
I do think that they did explicitly say not to bring up Cadsuane, and he did.
Probably.
Which, that was the big mistake, is going off script in that way. I think the reason they gave him a script, too, was because they were like, he's kind of unpredictable right now.
Yeah.
So, like, these things seem to be things that we can connect with him on. So maybe stick to that. Because if you go off script and, like, start mentioning things that trigger him, he might go fucking insane, which he did.
Yeah.
So there's that. So Nynaeve kind of is telling it like it is, where it's like, hey, we told you he's different. We told you, hey, stick to the script. And then you did the one thing we explicitly told you not to mention.
Yeah.
Which is Cadsuane. And then Min, none of them are wrong.
No.
In this situation. Here's the thing that's complex about this situation is none of them are wrong. They're all coming from a genuine place of wanting to help Rand.
Yeah.
They're going about it in drastically different ways, and they have drastically different opinions of how to help him.
Yeah.
None of them are wrong.
No.
And, like, Min's whole thing about we can't make him do anything, she's not wrong.
Especially because that's Rand's whole fucking
thing. He's like, I don't want to be used. I don't want to be made to do anything.
Is that the pattern is making him do this stuff, and he doesn't like it.
And he resents it. Well, the pattern's making us all do shit.
Well, Rand more than others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no.
Well,
because he's got the Taviran thing.
But that's the thing. Definitionally, he has less free will than other people because he has to follow these guide points the pattern link.
And yet he has more power than everybody.
Yeah.
So
but
it's
he has less free will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a balance on all of it. I mean, and there's a certain extent to which it's like, well, how much are you going to resent that? Like, how much can you resent that before it's just like, yeah, you kind of have to accept it. Radical acceptance is the thing. We all have no control.
Yeah.
So we have no control, so we have lots of control. Yeah. So it's the same.
Yeah.
But my whole thing with this is I'm like, none of them are wrong. A lot of the time when somebody is in crisis, all of us are just trying to approach it from what we would want someone to do for us.
Yeah.
Right? I was talking about this when I was going through a grief process with my therapist, where he was like, everyone's approach to you right now is much more indicative of who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Because these are things that would help them in their minds. In a similar vein to that, kind of, I also want to point out, everyone blames Cadsuane for how Rand is acting. And I think that is blisteringly unfair. So unfair.
Because I'm not saying Cadsuane has been a great help, but in terms of negative effects on Rand, she's like a mild rainstorm.
By everyone, it's Tam, and we have given him a pass for why he thinks that.
And 90% of the reading audience.
Okay, that's the everything.
That's the issue. I'm saying that, like, most people, they approach
he's a grown man. He's not a baby.
Well, and
he's 20 years old.
I think we can lay much more of the blame at the feet of, like, the Forsaken.
Elida.
Dark Friends. Elida. All the Black Aja who beat him. I just don't think Cadsuane deserves as much blame and vitriol as she gets. I'm willing to say she didn't do a great job.
I'm willing to say that her attitude toward Rand's trauma needs some massaging.
Yeah.
I also think that she comes at it from a place of an older generation.
Yeah.
That is much more like, deal with it. And I think she is adapting.
Yeah.
She is trying in her way. And she is mentoring Min as much as Min resists it. She is mentoring Min in this moment before Tam comes in, right? She is trying. And she is giving Min a lot of respect that the other Aes Sedai are not. So, like, as entrenched as Cadsuane is in the whole structure of the Aes Sedai, she's also going against the grain by giving Min some respect.
Yeah.
And saying, yep, I had the same thoughts. Well done.
Although Min reads that as, she's telling me that's not useful to me.
That's not it.
Yeah, Min reads that as she's projection. Saying I'm worthless and I haven't helped.
That's projection as fuck. My reading of it is she's like, I want you to come to the answers on your own. Because if I tell you the answers, you're going to think I'm wrong. You're going to rebel. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. And also, there's a world in which Cadsuane might die. Like, might need other people to be able to do the work that she's doing. She's mentoring men right now. And you know what? Here's the thing I've learned about mentors. I didn't know this until very recently, that usually when they're harder on you, it's because they believe in you more.
Yeah.
They know you can take it. They want to get something out of you. I didn't know this until very recently. And I was like, oh, that makes me re-examine like my whole school experience.
Yeah. Now, this is a read a lot of people are going to disagree with
Fine.
very strongly.
That Cadsuane's telling her she's useless?
The Cadsuane in any way looks at the younger people as a mentor-mentee relationship. But that's, I don't mind. I mean, I think that's I like that idea.
I think she's done nothing but try to be a mentor to them. Is she doing it badly? Yeah. I think, is she hurting their feelings and being a little bit of a bull? Yeah, but I think she's coming at it from a place of, I'm trying to fucking help you. I don't think she's coming into this going, you know what? I don't really want to save the world that bad. And she was a mentor to Moraine, too, in New Spring.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was like, get your shit together to Moraine.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. No, yeah. Right.
Yes.
In her like 2 chapters there, yeah.
She is a mentor. She's just
like
not...
Word of advice.
She's not warm and fuzzy.
Get your shit together.
Yes,
yeah.
She's just not warm and fuzzy about it. But she said, I had the same thoughts. That is her explicitly, in my mind, being like, well done.
You know who she reminds me of a little bit? To make a comparison to a TV show that we're watching right now? Jackson Lamb.
Yes!
Jackson Lamb.
And see...
Gary Oldman's character in Slow Horses.
Here's my thing. People love Jackson Lamb.
People love Jackson.
People don't love Cadsuane.
People hate Cadsuane.
And this is my thing. And I'm like, listen, I think in part it's because we expect women to be warm and fuzzy and be maternal and nurturing, and she's not, and people hate her for it.
Yeah, and I don't mean to just rake Brandon Sanderson over the coals specifically for one thing he said one time, but his using the specific criticism of Cadsuane as, you're not my real mom, Warraine's my real mom.
It rankles.
That kind of is indicative of the problem.
Neither of them are interested in being anyone's mom.
No.
They're interested in saving the world.
Yes.
Why are we relegating them to the position of mother?
Mom, yeah.
You know why? It's because people have an intrinsic fear. It's gone back to the fucking Salem witch trials and before. All that witch shit, all that witchcraft shit is literally a reflection of our suspicion and hostility toward older women who have no children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally, at one point, I think some fucking senator or whatever was like, what good are older women who have no children? And like, I've heard like, oh, being a grandma gives a woman purpose again. Like that kind of bullshit.
Wasn't that the vice president?
I'm pretty sure it was.
The vice president.
I'm pretty fucking sure it was the vice president of America that said something along those fucking lines. I don't have a direct quote, but it was some shit like that. Not to mention, I've heard shit like that from various people over the years in various contexts. It's like the casual misogyny toward women is in fucking sane. And like my thing is I'm like, watch Survivor. All of the older women people relegate to the mom role.
Yeah, well,
they're always and that's why everyone's always meaner to them at the end, because they feel betrayed by them because they put mom on them.
One of the more,
or if they're not interested in that role, they usually get hated pretty much right away.
I'm not going to say which season it is, but there's a season where it's a 3-tribe season, and the end comes down to kind of a very likable fellow and a middle-aged woman who played a very cunning game. You know which one I'm talking about. I'm going to pause and tell you. Yep. And the woman is absolutely raked over the coals in Final Tribal Council. There's somebody else there, I think.
Yeah, I think there's a third.
But I don't remember who it is right now. But the woman gets absolutely dragged to hell and back, and then they hand the victory to the guy. And it prompted a lot of discussion in the Survivor forums and the Survivor world about, like, okay, if this player had been a guy, they would be considered, like, a great.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. I think this happens to women frequently in Final Tribal Council and Survivor. They either get raked over the coals for the betrayal, right? Which I'm like, well, that's because people are like, you were supposed to be nice and you weren't.
Yeah.
Or they get labeled as useless.
Right. Well, and I think
Hannah and Adam in their season played a game that was in lockstep with each other. Adam is looked at as a great, and Hannah is looked at as like she was emotional.
Yeah.
But if she weren't emotional, then she'd be a bitch. You're either useless or you're a bitch. And there's like no fucking in between. And it's the same thing when you're a woman walking around the world. If you're too nice, you're labeled as slutty and flirtatious and like whatever, or dumb, right? You either get to be a dumb slut or a bitch.
Ugh. Mad.
And there's no fucking in between.
Mad.
Believe me, I've tried both sides.
Yeah.
They both suck.
Well, here's the thing. At the end of the day, Cadsuane did some things wrong, but I support women's wrongs.
Yeah.
Yes? Maybe?
Yes, because fuck, we can't do anything right, so we might as well support women's wrongs. So there's that.
Yeah.
So I'm frustrated a little bit with how she's being treated in this chapter. I don't disagree that sometimes she goes about things imperfectly. Guess what? Women get to be imperfect.
Well, Rand makes mistakes every 7 minutes.
And we give him a pass every time.
Well, I thought we were going to have time to talk about the next chapter, but honestly, this was pretty good conversation in and of itself.
Yeah?
So
I'm frustrated because the thing is that this is just how we're treated all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this is how older women are treated all the time. They get treated with fucking suspicion, especially if they have no kids. Like, if they have kids, they're a mommy. And then it's just the same version of the dumb slut thing again. It's like you're either maternal, and in that case, you're mommy. And then everybody just like relegates you to mommy. Or, and that's your identity. Or you don't have kids, and you're the old crone that wasn't wanted and is useless. And it's like you get to pick. You get to pick between two fucking stupid options.
So all that to say, Cadsuane could have done better.
Yeah, I'm just always going to have feelings about how she's treated in the fandom.
Me too.
And how she's treated in the books.
Me too.
I'm just like, man, because the older women that don't get this treatment, I feel like we never see.
What, you mean Cerelia and Amis and Bear and...
Dira,
and Egwene's mom.
Yeah, we like never see them.
Yeah.
And they're all like, again, kind of relegated to the role of like mom in some way.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's imagine a world in which women are people.
Cool. It's funny. I thought we were going to spend this talking about Rand going to visit the Shan and being like, damn, this wasn't so bad.
That's going to be a whole different rant.
But we get to do that next time.
Here's the thing. And I was like, am I being overly critical? And I don't think I'm being critical of the books. I feel like every piece of art is a reflection of our society and how we treat everything all the time.
Yeah. And also, yes.
I'm more critical of the society that we live in that's being reflected here a bit.
And also, yes, when it was published. But I think this was like 2009, which...
That's really not that long ago.
That's not that long ago. So,
I mean, here's the thing. I think, though, since 2009 was peak I'm Not Like Other Girls era.
Yeah. We've come a long way since then.
We have come a long way. We've come a long way. We're working on it.
Yeah. Anyway, good shit. Mad. Thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know.
No, I'm good.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We have social media if you want to know what we've got going on. It's linked below. We also have a Patreon if you want to support us that way. It's patreon.com/wheeltakes. And you can always leave us a rating or a review if you want. That helps a lot. Other than that, anything else, Allie?
Fuck the patriarchy.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.